Good morning, welcome to the Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 19th of December. So, well, what are these markets doing? They're getting choppy. As I said yesterday, there's certainly signs of a couple of days one way, one day the next way, and we've seen this in the signals that we've seen here. We've seen bearish pivot swings, bullish pivot swings, bearish one. Bullish engulfing almost there. Certainly covered the body there yesterday. Possibly some more upside on this, and this is just a euro. The pound's no different. So it's certainly trading in a range at the moment, and we can see this range possibly continuing. There are signs for me on the euro here that we might just be sort of trying to push up again. Towards these back towards the bodies, these prior highs. We saw it coming in yesterday. We may push back towards that area, the 118 area where we're sitting at the moment. It's quite pivotal. You see the prior levels around that, and how it's sort of pushed up into that area, pulled away. If it can close above that area properly, well, maybe we'll roll over again. But it's as I said, certainly it's pushing up there. And for now, it's looking like it's going to continue in that direction. Maybe retracements, maybe buy opportunities. But you've got to be just careful the first thing this morning and see exactly what they do. It took all the way through to late afternoon before we got a sort of reversal bar start coming in there, and a bit of a correction, which is corrected back to already. We've seen a daily pivot hit today. Well, we could see more of the same, the upward side. There's nothing really to shock this market at the moment, I don't think. So, as I say, retracements are the potential opportunities to buy in towards yesterday's highs, and that R1 at the moment. Now, significant break, and I'd have to wait for some clarification of that. Maybe a break of the 60-minute 8 or something like that. Some sort of reversal and some confirmation I'd need before I got short at the moment. Okay, looking at the pound, let's run through onto the dailies first. And again, as I said, we're sort of getting bearish signals, bullish signals, bearish signals. Well, not really a harami, but more bullish than anything else sitting there at the moment on the pound, maybe. So one minute it's looking bearish, next minute, as I say, it's looking a bit more bullish. However, just to point out here, looking across the highs, you're sort of getting we've had a series of lower highs, certainly lower lows coming through. Okay, Friday's just pipped a fraction lower there, maybe, but there is that slight downward trend there. However, at the moment we're just putting in bullish pivot swing. So it's at the moment it may look like it's got some more upside towards that weekly R1 sort of zone. It missed it yesterday. Maybe we'll get it today. Come down the time frame, let's just look at the last time frame here. I look at here the 60-minute, and so yesterday's highs, the daily R1 may well be a bit of pitch in for that at the moment. That would still, I mean, even if it breaks yesterday's highs and runs into that R1, at the moment I'd almost be more keen on those bodies there at 34. But it's not much in the way. But I need a retracement, maybe off the 8 o'clock pivot. We'll see what happens around that. And maybe looking, as I say, for the long side towards the prior highs. The bodies maybe, but as I say, there's not much mileage in there. But there's a reasonable probability of seeing the R1 hit from where we are at the moment. But we'll see how that progresses. But that may be a partial target. Now that then starts taking away that bigger trend that I discussed a moment ago, where you've got these lower highs here. So just be wary of that sort of zone. You should really be looking at a trend line across the highs. In fact, I'm just going to pop it on there. He says, hopefully, across these more recent highs here. So you just need to be watching watching that. Whoops, there we go. Now that may, as I say, may in itself, that weekly R1 and all, everything ties up pretty much together there. So with the daily R1s just round about that sort of level as well. So something just to watch for. If it starts breaking through that, it'll be a bit more bullish as we move through the week, but I'll talk about that later. Right, okay, that's the pound. Sorry, taking a bit of time there. Dollar yen. Dollar yen, well, the Japanese, they've got a policy tomorrow morning, so I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see it quite consolidated leading through into that. It did move down for quite a bit of yesterday, just sold off earlier on there, but at the moment, well, looks like it might roll over again. It's not the clearest. It does look like it was in a decent downward trend, so I'll come back to that 4 hour. I mean, it certainly wasn't a decent downward trend there. We rallied towards the end of last week, and it sort of started moving the same way, but yesterday recovered towards the end of the day there. But this may just, if the other pairs work off, it may just roll in the same sort of way, working towards yesterday's lows in the S1. A break of the sort of it's already hit the weekly pivot, just ticking that box off. So a break of that, the highs there may see us running back towards that monthly pivot. You see there was it sat around that monthly pivot towards the end of last week, pushed through it for a short while, but it's not managed to close above it yet properly. So I say properly, it did minor just there, but a decent close above that into the weekly pivot, something maybe a stronger sign here. But for now, just looking at it, if it does start running up to the upside, we have got the those prior highs there, which well, class is the previous day there, but that may with the R1 be a target. But my preference is if it can break this hourly 50, is it'll roll over, run back towards yesterday's lows in the S1. Right, that's the dollar yen. Aussie dollar, we've had the money tree policy, we had the minutes out, and it's done very little, as you can see on this hourly here. It's just consolidating where it is at the moment. Now that consolidation may be good for the upside. It fouled into the daily 200 there. Has got its weekly pivot untouched below at the moment, which may at some point be a target. For now though, it's still a bit like the pound and the euro, still looking more upside potential, but it's getting in a very, very tight range. And as I so often say, for me this is more of a swing trade pairing as opposed to an intraday trade. It does give the occasional trade off during the day, but so often some of the best moves happen through the Asian session. And there's, again, we've seen it at 4 o'clock this morning, the shove up there, but you see how pinched it is at the moment. So sure, there may be some decent move come out of this consolidation, but at the moment it's biased slightly towards the upside. Okay, and finally the Canadian dollar. Looking at the Canadian dollar, chopping away. Yesterday it was running up even when everything else was running down, but it hasn't done very much at all yesterday there. It ended up a little tiny doji. It's just sort of hanging around. It's going against the trend a little bit, but again consolidating on this 4 hourly here. It's a bit of a pennant pattern from an upward move. We would suggest a further upward move at some point, but if all the other markets are sort of pushing against the dollar, this might not be any exception. Still got a weekly untouched pivot below, so maybe we'll see out of this pennant, these higher, you see the higher lows, lower highs coming through. Maybe the move may run back down towards the S1. Oil came off sharply at one point yesterday, and it didn't really have much effect at all. But as I say, consolidating. The general picture of this, you'd expect an upside break, and I'd be wanting to play the upside break as opposed to the downside break, but we'll see. So not a lot to be traded there. News-wise today, overall, there's very little of any significance. We've already had the Aussie policy meeting minutes out. We've got the best part of nothing out. The German IFO business climate barely coughs on the market. and the rest of the data that comes out through the US session 1:30 is onwards is very light. We may get the tax bill voted through later this afternoon, maybe late afternoon our time, so it's 6-7 o'clock time. So there we go. Have a great day. Bye for now.